farming community of Eston, a short distance from Pietermaritzburg, played host earlier this month to the third round of the South African Off-Road Championship. The Bell Sugarbelt 400 attracted the biggest field of the season so far, with a full turnout of the country's leading car, bike and quad racers. Going into the Bell Sugarbelt 400, the Eastern Cape crew of Greg Harvey and Lionel Acton were the Special Vehicle Championship leaders. They were followed by Wade Perrins and Derek Frankenberg in a Sandmaster, and reigning champions Herman and Karl-Heinz Sugarbelt. After a controversial victory in round 2 of the championship, the brother and sister team of Marius and Margie Borain were among the favourites for what promised to be a difficult event.
This is unfortunately one of those races, if you put a wheel wrong, you fall off. You've got to be you can't afford to go wrong here.
One of the off-road talking points of the season is the awesome Motortech Raceco being campaigned by Richard Chilling and Ashley Thorne.
It's really a world prototype. It was the first attempt as such by a space frame builder such as Raceco to build a truck. A vehicle that resembles a truck with a front wheel, engine in the front and a gearbox. There is one other frame being built at the moment in California, and I'm working together with a friend of mine called Rick Scalza. Particulars of the car, it uses a 6-litre V8 motor, about 400 horsepower, an automatic gearbox and a very special rear diff where you can change the diff within, I'd say, probably 15 minutes you can change your gear ratios.
The Natal crew of Derek Pinoy and Hilton Laurie set the fastest time in the pre-race time trial and led away the field in the special vehicle category. It was a short event for the Raceco pair, who were forced out for the blown engine within half an hour of the start. This put the Sawald brothers into the lead in the Sawald Transport Raceco. The Palabora brothers are the reigning special vehicle champions, but going into the Sugarbelt 400 were still without a win this season. Off-roaders are suckers for early morning starts, and sections of the route were very slippery in the early stages of a race that was going to take its toll. The Sawalds were followed by Nick Harper and Richard Hill in the Pro-M Rockwell Raceco, with soon-to-retire Nardis Alberts and Peter Mathieu in hot pursuit in the Rapsa Raceco. Fourth on the road at this stage were Marius and Margie Borain in the Toyota-powered Raceco. With the previous day's time trial results added to time elapsed on the route, some crews had plenty of ground to make up and were faced with tactical decisions. The father and son team of Franz Czepek Sr. and Jr. decided on a safety-first policy in the early stages in the V-Motors Raceco. Veteran racer Harry Roscoe in the Protea playing card single-seater Raceco was up with the leading bunch and going well, despite having to both drive and navigate. Championship frontrunners Wade Perrins and Derek Frankenberg ran into early problems, with Rob Gibson the early leader in Class B and ahead of a Botswana crew, JJ Volmerans and Steve Cooper in another Raceco. The Natal pair of John Rowe and Nick Finch were running steadily in the home-built JRE Special. Rowe is a former track racing star who is now a regular competitor on the national off-road events. Looking like astronauts out for a drive in their moon buggy, Richard Chilling and Ashley Thorne were finding the Motortech Raceco a handful in the tight, twisty conditions. Having 400 horsepower on tap is not always an advantage, and the pair had lost touch with the frontrunners. Behind them, some interesting battles were starting to develop as the warm autumn sun started to dry out the route. The sun could do little about drying out wet patches in the sugarcane fields, and a number of crews were caught out in the slippery conditions. Among them were the Sawald brothers, who lost valuable seconds with the foray into the cane. Like Schilling and Thorne, the Sawalds were finding it tough going and had fallen behind the Borains, who looked strong contenders for a second successive win. The safety-first tactics adopted by the Czepeks was also paying dividends as they moved through the field into a challenging position. The Seal Coat car, driven by Rob Gibson, was still running at the front of Class B. With the engine starting to sound a little rough, matters were looking ominous for Gibson. Gibson was having to nurse the car along and was being rapidly caught by John Rowe and Nick Finch, who were to finish 5th overall in an impressive performance. Behind them, Harry Roscoe in the Protea Playing Cards Raceco was making a determined effort to make up for lost time and had moved ahead of Andy Gray and Alec Harris in the Sani Raceco. The Gray-Harris combination was being chased by the single-seater lubrication equipment Raceco, being shared by Richard Carolyn and younger brother Bux. With big brother Obut doing the driving in the early stages, the pair worked their way into third place overall. The route for the Sugarbelt 400 was made up of 2 loops each of an east and west course. Competitors were forced to check in at control points at the start and finish and along the route, with the service area at the start-finish line often a hive of activity as cars took on fuel with running repairs often needed for ailing machinery.
Is that the new one?
Dad, this thing's gonna go.
Change it. No, let's lift it. China, this one's also gonna go.
In true off-road spirit, rival teams pitch in to help each other out, with Bux Carolyn doing some servicing for Nick Harper and Richard Hill. Out on the route, the Borains looked to have the race in the bag when they slid off the road with the car landing on a large rock. The father and son team of Franz Czepek Sr. and Jr. had moved into second place in the V-Motors Raceco, which is not sounding all that healthy. The Solwald brothers, Herman and Karl-Heinz, were in hot pursuit and in turn were being chased by the Carolyn brothers. The Carolyns were to eventually catch the Solwalds, but there was drama at the front of the field when the Czepeks cruised past the still stranded Borains to move into the lead. Marius and Margie Borain managed to get going again, but had to be content with second place behind the Czepeks.
We went slowly at the beginning, first 2 laps, then after the 2 laps we were going to go a bit quicker when it dried out. But then unfortunately we lost 1 cylinder, so we were running on 3 cylinders, so we had to really battle, keep the revs up and keep going. And well, a lot of the guys fell out and we were lucky, we came in first.
Family teams dominated the top 4 placings, with Franz Czepek Sr. and Jr. scoring their first win of the season. The unfortunate Borains finished ahead of the Carolyn and Solwald brothers, with John Rowe and Nick Finch 5th overall.